we're going to explore both of those developments in the Middle East now, because with me here in the studio is Baria Alamuddin, the Lebanese columnist at Al Hayat newspaper. I know, Baria, you yourself were in Beirut just a couple of weeks ago, and I know you're in close touch. This is being portrayed as a deal that is a victory for all Lebanese.
Yes, indeed.
Is that how you see it?
Yes, yes. You know, in Lebanon, you're not one faction is allowed to win over the other faction. So in many ways, it was a win for all. However, of course, I just spoke to my husband, and I spoke to people in Lebanon. Everybody is extremely elated, is extremely happy. Indeed, there's an atmosphere that we have not felt in Lebanon for years. Nevertheless, people are, of course, aware that it's going to be a challenging win for all. There is, of course, a lot to be done on the economy, and one is hopeful that all the Arabs will come indeed and spend their summers in Lebanon.
As they did in the past.
Absolutely. We saw that the stock market has raised very quickly just as I announced the news, but there is a lot to be worked on the unity of the Lebanese people, on the different sects, the religious different sects. Also a lot to be worked on the Lebanese army for the unity also of the Lebanese army.
Let me just go back to we don't want to call them the winners and the losers,
no,
but the
there are no winners and
the
losers.
Parties in this deal. Isn't it a fact, though, that Hezbollah has achieved many of the things it really wanted? It hasn't had to disarm, and crucially, it has got the power of veto now over cabinet decisions because of the number of ministers it will have.
Well, you see, if the atmosphere is that we are going to agree that it's going to be a government that is going to move forward in really re-establishing the independence of Lebanon and the future of Lebanon, then that's not very important. Nevertheless, we should remember that actually the March 14th were not calling for the dismantling of the arms of Hezbollah before the latest events in Lebanon, because they were seen against a guarantee against Israel, because we all know that the enemy of Lebanon is Israel and nobody else. So in the new context, should be looked upon in this way. Also very important that the agreement has said that Hezbollah is not allowed, and other parties as well, to use their arms inside Lebanon. Okay. So that's a very crucial point.
Okay, I want to turn now to the question of the talks that we've now had confirmation from Israel are taking place with Syria.
Yes.
Is it a coincidence that we've learnt of that on this day?
Well, not really, because they've been working for many days. The coincidence is that we are hearing today, at the very moment almost, that this agreement between the Lebanese themselves was reached and signed, that Israel and Syria are in negotiations. And indeed, we've heard also from the Israelis that this is going to be an overall peace. It's very interesting because just a few days ago, I interviewed the head of the Bahraini army, and he said that it is easier to reach peace between Syria and Israel before we reach peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And indeed, now today, we see what these words mean. The peace hopefully will be reached between Syria and Israel. This will also dismantle a lot of the jigsaw puzzle in the area, which is Iran. Iran is very... Yes,
there is such a big picture, and there is so much more to talk about. You'll have to promise to come back and tell us
definitely,
more another time. Baria, thanks very much for joining us. Baria Alamuddin of Al Hayat.